Well, good morning. Good morning, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great pleasure to be with you and our global delegation over the next 2 days, for the third edition of the World Pension Summit, Africa Special. I'm Chris Battaglia, the publisher of Pensions and Investments, the leading media brand for the global pension and asset management business, and I'm also the CEO of the World Pension Summits, which were acquired by Pensions and Investments earlier this year. The World Pension Summits were started approximately 7 years ago by Harry Smorenberg and Eric Eggink here in this room. I'm delighted to be here with them and excited to enter the next phase of expanding the World Pension Summits through Pensions and Investments' global media network and channels. The World Pension Summits were created to provide a platform for sharing ideas and expertise on one of the most important societal issues facing the world's growing and aging population. Pensions and Investments has been operating conferences like this since the late 1970s in the United States and has expanded into other parts of the world. It's no great secret that changing global demographics are accelerating the need to address how best to provide pension investing and coverage so our aging populations can retire with security and dignity. If you want to see a good example of the impact of aging population, you should visit our Global Pension Symposium in Japan, where we're celebrating our 10-year anniversary in Tokyo on November 13th and 14th. Japan has more centenarians than any other country on the planet. They have 60,000 citizens over the age of 100. Imagine. I've been traveling to many countries over the past 25 years, meeting with institutional investors and asset owners. But my first trip to Africa was just a few weeks ago when I landed in Lagos for the Africa Special Press Conference. And I must say, I've been very impressed with the level of talent, commitment, and passion devoted to the improvement and growth of Africa's pension and retirement systems. Equally impressive is the progress made by PENCOM here in Nigeria, a country with significant economic growth potential. And I'm proud and honored to be working with Director General Chinelo, Grace Usoro, and the expert team of professionals in the National Pension Commission, as well as the founders of the World Pension Summit on the planning of the Africa Special. As you might recall, the first edition of WPS Africa Special was on the occasion of the 10-year anniversary of the Nigerian Pension Reform Act of 2004. And much has happened since then, and we're really looking forward to discussing these developments over the next 2 days. The main theme, of course, for our Africa Special is pension innovations, the Africa perspective. And in fact, we'll be recognizing many leading pension funds at 1900 today with the Africa Pension Awards. These companies have done an outstanding job of staying ahead of the curve, demonstrating innovation in corporate governance, coverage and inclusion, socioeconomic impact, risk management, and communication and technology platforms. They are making the necessary changes with great innovation to provide for their beneficiaries and participants. And keeping pace with constant change is not easy, and the global retirement landscape has certainly had more than its fair share of changes and challenges. These issues are now global as our markets and economies become ever more interconnected and correlated. For example, recent news on the UK's Brexit has had an impact on Nigeria, as well as many developed economies. And there's no doubt that events like these will be among the topics of conversation at our Africa Special. Over the next 2 days, we'll be bringing together industry leaders from Africa and around the world to discuss the challenges and opportunities for Pan-Africa. Outside Africa and along with Africa, global retirement assets are growing in size and importance. The shift to defined contribution from defined benefit continues in most developed and developing markets. Life expectancy has been steadily increasing. Long-term interest rates are at historical lows in all developed markets. These trends are having a profound impact on the future of retirement and pension systems. In most developed countries, pension assets have grown in size and importance in relation to their economies. With great assets comes great responsibility. Assets for the 300 largest global pension funds have reached nearly $15 trillion US. And many developed countries, such as the Netherlands, Switzerland, and Iceland, assets are now more than 100% of GDP. As I mentioned earlier, another major trend affecting our industry is the rapid extension of life expectancy, which has been increasing for the past 50 years. The world's changing demographics are putting pressure on pension systems that were designed for fewer years spent in retirement. The world is not only getting older, there are more of us getting older. By the year 2100, it is estimated that the average person will add an additional 5 years to their life expectancy once they reach the average retirement age of 65. And the solutions for meeting these retirement challenges will likely include the need to save more for retirement, increased financial education and literacy, along with micro-pension development, particularly here in Africa and many other developing countries. Around the globe, long-term interest rates have been dropping since the financial crisis due to unprecedented central bank intervention, including the United States' quantitative easing. And since 2008, the US, the UK, and Japanese central banks have doubled their balance sheets. Mario Draghi, the president of the ECB, famously said, "We will do whatever it takes, and believe me, it will be enough." But doing whatever it takes has had a profound impact on actuarial liabilities of pension funds and has significantly increased the income challenges facing plan participants already in retirement. Nigeria has had its own challenges and is going through its first recession in more than 20 years. And as you know, just last week, Nigeria central bank decided to maintain its benchmark interest rate at 14%, keeping the cost of domestic borrowing high, so hopes of lowering borrowing costs to finance domestic spending have been a bit dampened. Many experts, including the Director General, advocate a strong need for economic stimulus against the backdrop of high domestic borrowing costs, and have publicly stated the need to put pension assets to work as a way to stimulate the economy, particularly with regard to infrastructure investment. If you have any doubts about the impact of pension fund investing on economic growth, consider this quote from Michael J. Klaus, the founding editor of Pensions and Investments, from his critically acclaimed book titled The Money Flood: How Pension Funds Revolutionized Investing. Michael said, in 1985, the U.S. economy was considered a basket case. U.S. executives were urged to copy the German and Japanese corporate models. By the early 1990s, however, with the aid of pension fund capital, the U.S. economy had reinvented itself and was the most efficient, most resilient, and strongest in the world. Without pension fund assets, the U.S. high-tech industry might not now lead the world, for many firms would have been starved for vital capital or might have paid too high a price for it to permit success. I believe we possibly have more topics to discuss on the opportunities and challenges in Nigeria and Pan-Africa than our 2 days together in Abuja will allow. But I promise you, when we conclude our meeting at the end of the day on Wednesday, you will leave Africa Special more informed and hopefully more inspired about the power and potential of Africa's growing pension system and its investments. I'd like to once again thank our friends and partners at PenCom, the founders of the World Pension Summit, Harry Smorenberg and Eric Eggink, and our local and global delegation of industry leaders for joining us in the third edition of Africa Special. I really look forward to meeting many of you over the next 2 days. Thank you very much.
This is his second visit to Africa. We also give you a very special African greeting. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it's therefore my honor and pleasure to specially welcome to this event His Excellency, the President of Nigeria, here ably represented by the head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Mrs. Winifred Oyo-Ita. I welcome you. Also with us here is a man that everybody calls the champion and general of urban renewal. His Excellency, the Governor of Kaduna State, Malam Nasiru El-Rufai, is also here with us. I welcome you. You're welcome. You can see the way he stood up like a soldier. He's not due for pension yet. So I welcome you, sir. Let me also specially welcome the Permanent Secretary in the Office of the Head of Service, Mr. Delakun. You are welcome. And also here with us, the Head of the Civil Service of Rivers State, representing His Excellency, the Governor of Rivers State. Your Excellencies, the World Pension Summit, it's a setup, an organization that is fathered by two wonderful men. You heard them say earlier that they are taking the 10th anniversary to Tokyo, Japan. The second half of the founding fathers is also here. I'd like to welcome Mr. Harry Smorenberg to step forward here and give us an outlay of the program.